Hey, my friend Sam here. So let's talk about pain. So I went into medicine to help save lives, but also to limit pain and discomfort. So when I put a post up showing this and a tourniquet plus my friend Uriah's pressure bar, I was both surprised and encouraged by the number of people who said things like, "Ooh, that looks like it's going to hurt." It means that some of you are caring people, hopefully all of you. And so I want to dig into the sources of pain that are related to tourniquets, as well as ways to take the edge off when using direct pressure. So when a tourniquet gets applied, I think there are 5 different sources of pain, and I'll kind of go through them here. The thing that got me thinking about tourniquets was actually this one right here. Someone handed me this many years ago, 20 something years ago, and said, "Hey, if you can make a better tourniquet, you can help a lot of people." Start cranking, and it hurts. So one of the reasons that I wanted to make a better tourniquet was this thing really hurts. And it's also quite bulky. I think there are ways to improve such a device. All right, so pain source number one is superficial skin pinch. And that can be anything from tugging of hairs to twisting of tissue to just getting skin caught in the cinch here. So if you look close, look inside of there, you can see my skin getting pulled into the cinch, and that just causes a little bit of pain. It's not agony, but there is some pain related to that. I also feel scratching on the other side from Velcro or something else. As I twist, like I can feel, this is not ischemia pain. This is my skin getting tugged apart. You can kind of see things happening inside of there. All right, so this is the RMT. As I crank down, you can see what's happening to my tissue there. It's just getting crunched. There's another source of pain with tourniquets, and that is deep tissue injury. So if I use a wire like this, simple wire, thread it through. So right now I have a wire, very thin, very narrow. I don't recommend using this as a tourniquet. This is quite painful, and this, I can, without a doubt, I can stop flow. I can also shear my limb right off here. So I'm going to do damage to deep tissues here. I know a woman who lost her arm. She said the pain related to the tourniquet was worse than the pain of the injury, and she had that pain for a year after things got better. If I use wire, that's going to hurt more. If I use a dog leash, you know, a little bit wider, doesn't hurt as much, but it still hurts. With the SWAT T, there's actually 2 different ways. You can have it wide, you won't hit the same high pressures, or you can rope it out. It's going to hurt more, and you're going to have more deep tissue injury, but you're going to hit pretty high pressures with that. What about the blood pressure cuff? So this is wide. It's nicely distributed. I pump it up, and it doesn't hurt nearly as much as the others. And without a doubt, it's stopping flow in my arm. As far as the Slishman pressure wrap goes, I will admit I wanted to make a better tourniquet, but I've seen how people use tourniquets, so that's what led me to use the word pressure wrap. I want people to be using it for applying direct pressure. In terms of skin pinch, it doesn't. So that is one of the reasons that I really like the slip sleeve. I can make it wide or narrow. I have choices when I apply this. Won't go all the way, but that's a nice wide distribution. Pain source number 3 is ischemia. If I have a tourniquet on and I have no flow to my limb for a prolonged period of time, gradually there's going to be more and more pain. It's hard to quantify when it's the worst, but it just hurts to not have flow in your limb for quite a while. However, there is pain source number 4, which is venous engorgement. And a few videos back I showed what that actually looks like. Using an experiment where I had an A line and an IV, and you can see the different columns. Arterial flow is returning. And look at that. Now, it's pretty obvious. And I definitely have a venous tourniquet right now. I can feel the flow. Yeah, it's actually quite painful right now. So when you lose arterial occlusion, your limb blows up like a balloon, and it hurts like stink. So if you have a patient and you're headed to the hospital and all of a sudden they're like, "This hurts too much, get this thing off me," you should check pulses, because there's a good chance you've lost arterial occlusion. Maybe it's time to be converting at that point. Pain source number 5, and I don't think people consider this very often, but It's in the psychology side of things, and it's fear. So if I say to you, I'm going to put a tourniquet on you, it's going to hurt, but it's going to save your life. That is a pain amplifier. I don't love that. And it's frankly one of the reasons that I use the words pressure wrap instead of tourniquet. All right, let's talk about direct targeted pressure as well as ways to limit pain from direct targeted pressure. So for starters, I demonstrated this on here and I closed off these inner holes, but my intention was not to say this has to be used to stop arterial flow. When you're converting, you don't have to stop arterial flow. What I was trying to show is that this can deliver deep pressure while still sparing outer tissue. When you apply direct pressure, one thing I recommend is you get something between the device and the tissue. It can be bacitracin, you can use gauze, wrap it with some Curlex if you like. If you really want to take it to the next level, you want extra credit, you can use bupivacaine, or you can even sprinkle some epinephrine. You can use lidocaine with epinephrine, and that'll be a double bang for buck. You both get pain reduction as well as some vasoconstriction. It's a beautiful thing. So there are ways to take the edge off when you're doing tourniquet conversion. But I think that at the end of the day, a patient who is going to have their tourniquet removed and then direct targeted pressure delivered, if it's my limb, that's the path that I want. I am comfortable with having direct targeted pressure, and I love having a venous return. You also need to think about what's happening inside of that limb that has a tourniquet applied. So, there's a lot of interest right now in whole blood transfusion. If I constrict a limb, all of this blood that's in the limb, however, whatever that volume is, it is going from helpful to harmful. That blood eventually is going to make its way back into the body, and it's not going to be doing me any favors. It's also blood that's not carrying oxygen. It's just carrying bad things. So I really want that blood to be functional. I don't want to take all that blood out of commission. Also, I want to keep my limb. Additionally, people ask me about DVTs. I made a statement that you can have an increased risk for clots when a tourniquet is applied. And I don't know if that's in any papers, but if someone tells me that I need to stand up every so often on an airplane because of venous stasis, when you put a tourniquet on, that is the ultimate venous stasis. That whole limb, blood's not going anywhere. Plus you have injury on top of it. The Virchow's triad, that's at least 2 out of the 3. So I think it makes a lot of sense to convert early to limit pain and deep tissue injury and to keep that blood in the game and to limit clotting and all sorts of other problems. Convert ASAP.